Union is a different case than Canada, different kind of case. They've really taken advantage of us in a different way. They don't accept our cars. They don't accept essentially our farm products. They use all sorts of reasons why not. And we accept everything of them. And we have about a $300 billion deficit with the European Union. Now, I love the countries of Europe. I guess I'm from there at some point a long time ago, right? But indirectly, well, pretty directly too, I guess. But I love the countries of Europe. I love all.
Imagine a high-stakes chess game where every move costs billions. Now, replace the chessboard with the global economy and the players with two of the world's most powerful nations. This isn't just a game, it's a battle of wits, strategy, and economic dominance. Welcome to the billion-dollar trade war between South Korea and the United States. Who will emerge victorious? And at what cost? Let's dive in. The trade battle between South Korea and the United States is a complex and multifaceted conflict that underscores the challenges of maintaining balanced economic relationships in an increasingly interconnected world. At its core, the dispute revolves around competing interests. The U.S. seeks to protect its domestic industries and reduce its trade deficit, while South Korea aims to safeguard its export-driven economy and maintain its position as a global leader in key sectors like technology and manufacturing. The imposition of tariffs on steel, aluminum, and automobiles by the U.S. was initially framed as a measure to address unfair trade practices and protect national security. However, for South Korea, these tariffs were seen as a direct threat to its economic stability, prompting swift negotiations and strategic countermeasures. The revised Chorus FTA, while providing temporary relief, has not fully resolved the underlying tensions. The semiconductor industry, in particular, has become a flashpoint, with both nations vying for dominance in this critical sector. As the U.S. tightens export controls and South Korea invests heavily in self-reliance, the battle for technological supremacy continues to escalate, with far-reaching implications for global supply chains and innovation. Beyond the economic ramifications, the South Korea-U.S. trade dispute highlights the broader geopolitical dynamics at play in the Asia-Pacific region. South Korea, a key U.S. ally, finds itself walking a tightrope between maintaining its strategic partnership with Washington and deepening its economic ties with China, its largest trading partner. The U.S., on the other hand, views the trade conflict as part of a larger strategy to counter China's growing influence and reassert its own economic dominance. This delicate balancing act has created ripple effects across the global economy, disrupting supply chains, inflating costs, and forcing businesses to adapt to an uncertain trade environment. Meanwhile, the human cost of this conflict cannot be ignored. Workers in both nations face job insecurity. Farmers struggle with fluctuating markets, and consumers bear the brunt of higher prices. As the world watches this high-stakes economic showdown, the path forward remains uncertain. Will diplomacy and compromise prevail, or will the pursuit of national interests lead to further escalation? The outcome of this billion-dollar trade battle will not only shape the future of U.S. South Korea relations, but also set a precedent for how nations navigate the complexities of global trade in the 21st century. In the ever-evolving landscape of global trade, few conflicts have captured the world's attention like the ongoing tariff battle between South Korea and the United States. What started as a series of trade disputes has escalated into a full-blown economic showdown, with billions of dollars hanging in the balance. From steel and automobiles to semiconductors and agriculture, no industry has been left untouched. But how did we get here? And what does this mean for the future of global trade? Today, we'll explore the origins, the key players, and the far-reaching implications of this billion-dollar trade battle. The origins of the trade dispute. To understand the current conflict, we need to rewind to the early 2000s. South Korea, often referred to as the miracle on the Han River, had rapidly transformed itself from a war-torn nation into a global economic powerhouse. By the 2010s, it had become one of the world's leading exporters of electronics, automobiles, and steel. Meanwhile, the United States, long considered the world's largest economy, was facing its own challenges. A growing trade deficit, the decline of manufacturing jobs, and increasing competition from Asia had left many American industries vulnerable. In 2017, the U.S. government, under the Trump administration, launched an investigation into the global steel and aluminum markets. The findings? A surge in imports was deemed a threat to national security. In response, the U.S. imposed a 25% tariff on steel and a 10% tariff on aluminum imports from several countries, including South Korea. This move sent shockwaves through the global economy and marked the beginning of a new era in U.S. South Korea trade relations. South Korea, a key ally of the United States and home to companies like Samsung, Hyundai, and POSCO, was caught off guard. The tariffs threatened to cripple its steel and aluminum industries, which relied heavily on exports to the U.S., but South Korea wasn't about to back down. In a strategic move, the South Korean government negotiated a revised trade agreement with the U.S., known as the KORUSFTA, Korea-U.S. Free Trade Agreement. Under the New Deal, South Korea agreed to limit its steel exports to the U.S. in exchange for exemptions from the tariffs. While this seemed like a win-win solution, tensions continued to simmer. South Korea's automotive industry, another major export sector, soon found itself in the crosshairs. The U.S. accused South Korea of unfair trade practices, claiming that its auto market was heavily protected and difficult for American manufacturers to penetrate. In response, South Korea pointed to the growing presence of U.S. brands like Ford and GM in its domestic market, arguing that the claims were exaggerated. The South Korea-U.S. trade battle isn't just a bilateral issue. It has far-reaching implications for the global economy. As two of the world's largest economies, any disruption in their trade relations sends ripples across the globe. Supply chains are disrupted, markets become volatile, and businesses are forced to adapt to an ever-changing landscape. As we look to the future, one thing is clear. In the game of global trade, there are no easy wins. But with careful negotiation and a commitment to mutual growth, perhaps both nations can emerge stronger than ever. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the billion-dollar trade battle. Until next time, stay informed, stay curious, and remember, the world of economics is always in motion.